to retweet this post. I'm trying to get through this the best I can, guys. Now, I'm finna head on over to X, and I'm finna show y'all this. Now, Skip Bayless, I think he might have deleted the tweet. I think he might have deleted it. Let me see. Hold on. Because Skip Bayless, hold on, right?
Two separate but connected developments caught the attention of the basketball world all week, both centering on the Indiana Fever and the growing turbulence surrounding the organization. The first involved Skip Bayless, who posted on social media reporting that Stephanie White had been let go following repeated on-court confrontations with Caitlin Clark. The report was not accurate. It originated from a fake news account on X, a page that carries a verification checkmark, which, under the platform's current structure, simply means someone paid for the badge rather than that the account has been vetted for credibility. The Indiana Fever organization moved quickly to respond, with a spokesperson confirming that reports of White's dismissal were entirely false. The second, and arguably more significant development, is the fact that the Fever felt it necessary to respond at all.
Hold on. Because Skip Bayless, hold on, right? Hold on, guys. I'm still, because all this stuff is still unfolded. It just happened like an hour ago. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Now, Skip deleted the post, but it's the internet. You can't delete it. We'll find it by the end of the video. But it stated Fever coach Stephanie White not fired despite Clark rumors. Skip Bayless tweeted unverified claims of White's ouster due to clash with
Throughout Clark's time in Indiana, dating back to her first day with the organization, the Fever's front office has maintained a remarkably tight ship when it comes to outside narratives, controversies, coaching questions, roster criticisms, even formal league investigations have come and gone without the organization going out of its way to issue public statements. This is the first time that pattern has broken. The decision to actively push back against a clearly fake report, rather than simply letting it die on its own, signals that something has shifted internally. When organizations feel compelled to contain a story this aggressively, it typically means the story is landing too close to something real.
Clash with Caitlin Clark. Even speculating Caitlin Clark wanted her Iowa head coach to replace her. Chloe Peterson of the Indy Star Sports quickly debunked it, confirming White remains firmly in place as head coach. The Fever hover around .500 in early 2026 with recent losses like 184 blowout to Portland, fueling fan debates over White lineup choices.
At the same time, there is little evidence that White is actually close to being fired or that Clark is close to being traded. Both scenarios appear unlikely in the immediate term. The more plausible reading is that the current arrangement, White coaching Clark, does not survive into next season. The stylistic mismatch has become impossible to overlook. White's preferred system prioritizes defense above all else, requires 5 players committed to that end of the floor, and favors grinding, low-scoring games.
Over White lineup choices such as early subs for Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hall. White explained the moves as rest and matchup strategy, while fans split between crediting her past playoff success and demanding changes to spotlight Caitlin Clark. Now, this is currently trending on X. Now, Chloe Peterson put this out, and she said, for those that have seen Skip Bayless tweets about
Clark's game is built around pace, playmaking, and offensive creativity. The two approaches are not naturally compatible. and the tension that has played out publicly in recent weeks is a symptom of that deeper structural problem. The financial picture adds another dimension. Television revenue in the WNBA is distributed evenly across franchises, meaning Clark's presence or absence does not materially change what Indiana receives from that stream. Individual jersey sales, under the collective bargaining agreement, are similarly distributed among all players in the league, rather than flowing back to the team.
Reports of Stephanie White being let go from the Fever, I'm told there is absolutely no validity to the report. Stephanie White is still head coach. Somebody said there's a Fever update account that does nothing but post made up BS. Yes, there is. There is definitely a Fever made. Where's that account at? Because I want to see this. Guys, this is the funny. Wait till you guys see this. Wait until you guys see this picture right.
Gate revenue is the one area where Clark's presence directly benefits the Fever, and by several accounts, that revenue has declined significantly from its peak. The organization that once profited enormously from the attention Clark brought is now in a position where employing her has become financially complicated. There is a historical parallel worth noting. The Chicago Sky faced a similar dynamic with Angel Reese, a situation where the organization wanted to move on, but needed the broader narrative to reach a certain point before a trade could be justified publicly. A move made while a player is performing at an all-star level reads as mismanagement.
Guys, this is the funny. Wait till you guys see this. Wait until you guys see this picture right here, bro. I'm going to try to pull it up for us real quick, chat. Let's see. Oh, my God. This is by far the funniest thing ever, bro. Here it is. Here it is right here. And I got Skip tweet. And so this is the post. I follow this page. Now, this is the post, right? It stated the Indiana Fever are expected to name Jan Jensen as their next head coach.
A move made after weeks of publicized friction reads differently. Whether intentional or not, the accumulation of public incidents surrounding Clark and the has begun to construct exactly that kind of context. Clark's frustration this season has also stood out compared to previous years. She was visibly unhappy under Christie's sides at times and had disagreements with her previous head coach as well. But those exchanges were isolated and did not define the tenor of the season. What has been observed this year across multiple games is something more consistent and harder to dismiss as routine competitive intensity.
Right. It stated the Indiana Fever are expected to name Jan Jensen as their next head coach amid growing speculations surrounding Stephanie White's future with the franchise following recent tension spreading online involving Caitlin Clark. Jensen will remain as Iowa's head coach while stimulously taking on the Fever role in a historic dual coaching arrangement. Now that right there should have just let him know that this was clickbait. Now, mind you, they made a post before this one. Hold on.
Her body language, her interactions on the bench, and her visible reactions during games suggest a player operating in an environment that is genuinely not working for her. The Fever's decision to issue a public statement over a fake news post, rather than ignore it, may end up being the most telling moment of the week. Not because of what it denied, but because of what it revealed about where the organization currently stands. The Indiana Fever's blowout defeat to the Portland Fire, an expansion franchise, has triggered a wave of reaction from fans, media figures, and, most pointedly, from Christie Sides herself. Sides, the former Fever head coach, who was dismissed after the 2024 season, posted a photo of herself on a golf course during the loss, with a caption referencing what a beautiful day it was. The timing was not coincidental.
Look, it says following the viral tension between Caitlin Clark and head coach Stephanie White. Caitlin Clark is reportedly considering a future away from Indiana Fever. The New York Liberty have emerged as top destination. Hold on, bro. Because there was one earlier where he said she was fired. Here it is. Here it is. The Indiana Fever are reportedly considering firing head coach Stephanie White. This comes after a video of tension moments between.
Observers across social media immediately recognized it as a deliberate jab at the organization that let her go. For many Clark supporters, the image carried an added layer of meaning. Sides was the coach who recognized what Clark could do, and, particularly in the back half of 2024, following the Olympic break, effectively handed her the offense and watched the team go on a run. The theory circulating is that Sides read the situation clearly, sensed that Stephanie White was returning, and that the front office had already made its decision, and chose to stop fighting the inevitable rather than compromise her approach to the player. The blowout itself exposed a tactical problem that has been discussed repeatedly. White's defensive scheme calls for switching every screen, meaning guards end up defending forwards, and centers end up defending guards, depending on how the opposing offense moves.
Show up to face of the league on camera. Caitlin obviously wants a favorite of hers from Iowa, Jan Jensen, but no way Jensen can coach both. Skip Bayless fell for this. Skip Bayless fell for the fake news Fever updates page. If anyone knows anything about this on Twitter, this is a fake news page. This is not 2022 and earlier. This is not back in the day. Having a verification mark does not mean that you are verified. As somebody who is annoyed because they were verified on Twitter before that.
Against Portland, that produced repeated mismatches in the paint that the Fire exploited without much resistance. The broadcast even acknowledged it directly. Noting that the switch everything philosophy is why bigger players were finding smaller defenders on them near the basket. White's comments about Raven Johnson before the game added another dimension to the fallout. White described Johnson as someone who makes the entire team play at a faster pace when she handles the ball, calling her aggressive and impactful. Johnson then fouled out of the game in roughly 10 minutes of action.
Before all of that, I got verified, I think it was 2021. I think I had like 90-something. I had like 90,000 Twitter followers and had like 300k YouTube subscribers. So they were like, oh yeah, we'll verify you. But yeah, it was like, they were like, okay, yeah, we'll, when it came down to it, now you can just pay for verification. Skip, I don't think realized that. So I'm going to be really here. It is one of
the contrast between the pregame framing and the on-court reality did not go unnoticed. It also prompted a pointed observation from several commentators. Johnson never fouled out under Dawn Staley during her college career at South Carolina, the implication being that the defensive scheme, not the player, may be the primary driver of the foul trouble. Amber Cox, the Fever's COO and general manager, drew criticism of a different kind when it emerged that she had blocked veteran sports journalist Jason Whitlock on social media. Whitlock has been in the business for decades, with stints at major outlets across print, radio, and television.
It is one of those things where now you've got the Fever going to one of their their main spokespeople to say, for those who have seen Skip Bayless tweet about report 71 being let go, I'm told there is no validity to the report. And you can see it everywhere. You can see everywhere, Oh, there's a couple of other...
For the general manager of the most watched franchise in the league to block an established media voice rather than engage with his criticism struck many observers as a sign of an organization that has no tolerance for scrutiny at precisely the moment when scrutiny is most warranted. The fan response is where the damage may be most lasting. Several high-profile Clark supporters publicly announced they were stepping back from watching games. The sentiment being expressed is not anger so much as exhaustion, a recognition that the product on the floor is not worth the emotional investment, and that the front office has shown no sign of understanding the scale of the problem it created. Victors described freeing up their summer schedules.
Oh, there's a couple of other things. Fever updates reports from Skip Bayless. So, fuck me. Confirm are false and fake. You're the one. It's from you. It's from you. Like, what world do we live in? The Fever reports says Skip Bayless falling for Fever report is fake. What the fuck? What are we doing? What are we doing? People are dumbasses. People are actually dumbasses.
One prominent supporter said the drama would be easier to follow through coverage than by watching the games themselves.
The ratings picture reflects that drift.
Attendance figures are declining. The expansion Portland Fire now sits ahead of Indiana in the standings. A franchise that was supposed to be the centerpiece of a new era for the league is instead becoming a case study on organizational dysfunction. One that a recently fired coach appears perfectly content to watch unravel from the fairway.
People are actually dumbasses. Oh, I need to see. There's more than that. There's more than Skip Bayless. I've tweeted Skip Bayless. There's a bunch of my Skip Bayless tweets out of nowhere. But why are the Fever doing damage control? There's so many people in the WNBA media that have tweeted out that this is not actually false and Stephanie White's actually fired. Like, not actually fired. Like, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be completely real. Like, this is one of those things where, why the fuck, as an organization, do you have to come out and talk about your player getting hit with getting sacked? If you guys don't know what sack is, the original Twitter page, obviously there was like the Onion and stuff and some of these other sports pages, but they were like intentionally false. They were intentionally false, and it was obvious. But there was a Twitter page called Ballsack News that just kept tricking everybody, and Stephen A. Smith just kept reporting Ballsack News as fact. He just kept doing it. And like, it is what it is. It's one of those things now where like, you've now got a situation where even though, again, none of these teams, when Stephen A. Smith was tweeting, was talking about fake news from Kyrie Irving fighting with teammates and all this other stuff, no teams were putting out statements. The teams going out of their way to tell reporters and make sure that everybody knows that Stephanie White's not hacked. This is not a good sign.